that new drip. Shooter pop out with the pool stick. Effing and Draco extended 30 and it's sent on my hip.
A lot of people don't like Boruto, to the point where the series has a stigma that seems to follow it around in every discussion you see. Personally, I think the series gets a bad rep. That's not to say Boruto doesn't have problems, it definitely does, but it really is a lot better than most people give it credit for. So what's one of the big things that turns people off from the show so much? Well, I think it's because Boruto isn't really a sequel to Naruto, in the sense of it being a part 2. Instead, Boruto is a sequel to Naruto in the same way Dragon Ball Z was a sequel to the original Dragon Ball. Let me explain. Dragon Ball started off as what is pretty much a martial arts anime. Sure, some wacky things that could only happen in anime, but the fights are usually very grounded. It's often more about the techniques and the skills that make or break fights, rather than who has the bigger power level. These fights tended to be a lot more tactical, so it meant that everyone was important to the plot. Even the side characters were never really irrelevant in Dragon Ball because the gap between the weakest members of the cast and the strongest members never really got too ridiculous, except maybe near the end. I mean, the original Goku vs Krillin fight is absolutely iconic, and I'm sure every old school anime fan remembers it like it happened just yesterday. This is pretty much how Naruto started off too. You had ninjas using small scale techniques to outwit and outmatch each other. If you go and look at the first arc, the Land of Waves, the absolute coolest moment has to be Naruto and Sasuke teaming up to save Kakashi from Zabuza. Here they took on someone much stronger, not by getting a massive power boost that let them destroy mountains, but by using their brains to think their way out of a sticky situation. The point is that the scale was smaller, the fights were smarter, anyone could win, because nobody could vaporize a small hill by looking at it funny. This ties in especially well to the tuning exams, which are pretty much all about showing us how different ninjas could use their unique, but imperfect powers in creative ways to get out of difficult situations. Then, well, we all know what happened. If you were a fan of the original Dragon Ball, I'm sure it was a little trippy turning into the first episode of Dragon Ball Z and seeing an alien casually hopping out of his spaceship. This alien, being Raditz, was comically stronger than the strongest cast members at the time, Goku and Piccolo. Sure, Raditz did eventually lose, but the power scaling never stopped. It just got worse and worse. Then we had Vegeta and Nappa, both so strong they made Raditz look like a joke. They were so strong that the entire cast had to spend an entire year training to fight them. And even then, Goku was the only one who could actually stand up against them. That was pretty much when the wait for Goku meme started. Our heroes couldn't do anything anymore, and it was just up to Goku to save everything. I don't want to repeat myself, but this definitely got worse and worse as we got to Super Saiyan and beyond. At this point, an honest fight between Krillin and Goku would be more of a gag than an actual fight. We did have a fight between the two in DragonBallSuper, and pretty much all everyone could do was shake their head at Krillin for not instantly getting nuked out of orbit. Dragon Ball Z took the grounded roots of its predecessors and ran with it until the series was all about who could throw out the biggest light show the hardest. That's not to say Dragon Ball Z is bad. Mind you, Dragon Ball Z is one of the most iconic shows in any medium, and it's way more popular than the original Dragon Ball ever was. It just means that for fans of the original series, well, they didn't really get what they were asking for, now were they? Boruto is in the same boat. The power scaling has gotten more and more ridiculous by the episode and chapter, which is one of the big reasons why people don't like it nearly as much as they should. It's not what they were expecting, and so it's a pretty big shock once you realize what's happening. Yes, I know what you're probably thinking. Power scaling in the Naruto verse got pretty wild long before Boruto ever came out. We went from tactical battles between ninjas to a clash between Naruto and Sasuke destroying an entire valley and changing the weather in a span of about 500 episodes. But the difference between Naruto Shippuden and Dragon Ball Z is that even when things got really ridiculous, it's not like all the side characters were useless. In fact, many of the side characters like Guy or Kakashi are some of the most strongest characters in the show. So it helps for making it feel like the Naruto and Sasuke special all the time. Then of course we had the 4th Great Ninja War, which focused a lot on showing us the effects that ordinary ninjas could have a large scale conflict. Here, even when we did see Naruto and Sasuke step in, it wasn't like they were the only ones who were doing anything. Their actions were at least somewhat balanced respective to everyone around them. Ordinary ninjas didn't become worthless. Then later on, when Naruto and Sasuke become practically gods, it doesn't seem quite as bad. And that's where the big difference between Boruto and Shippuden comes in. At the start of Boruto, you knew that if there was a real problem, then Naruto and Sasuke would and could deal with it. If it wasn't a real problem, then Boruto and the gang could try handling it, so long as things didn't get too out of hand. This was a lot more like Dragon Ball Z, with the new meme being to just wait for Naruto and Sasuke. We didn't really get anything to balance this out either. The episodes and arcs that focused on the new cast had them dealing with problems that were basically just anime canon until the real arc started. This rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but it was somewhat alright, mainly because a lot of people just loved Naruto and Sasuke that much to watch the Boruto anime, or just to keep up with the series. Then the Momoshiki arc happened, and we finally got a threat that was on a completely different scale from anything we'd seen before, even from Shippuden. Momoshiki, Kenshiki, and in the anime Urashiki. These three new Otsutsuki members were a threat unlike any we'd ever seen before, to the point where the final villain of Shippuden, Kaguya Otsutsuki, was hiding from them. In fact, she even made an army of Zetsus. Their powers were crazy, and well, if you're wondering how all the characters we spent hundreds and hundreds of episodes were going to deal with them, the answer was that they weren't. I mean, it makes sense, right? The power scale expanded again, and the cast that couldn't compete as it was only got left farther and farther in the dust. And if you really want an obvious and funny example of this, then just go watch the four Kages try to help Sasuke rescue Naruto. Their fight against the Otsutsuki duo goes about as well as you can imagine, with all of them trying to set records of who can get knocked out the fastest. Then we had Naruto and Sasuke, combined managed to beat Fuse Momoshiki and finally save the day again. We were now fully in Dragon Ball Z mode, where literally everyone but Naruto and Sasuke was useless. Again, this was fine, sorta. People like Naruto and Sasuke, they grew up with them, so as long as they were always there, it'd be fine. Well, about that, let's just say the power scaling didn't stop there at all. The next big villain after all of this was of course Jigen. Jigen was pretty much immediately different from everyone we had ever seen before. He wasn't just another alien, he was an alien prince apparently. I'm sure a lot of people had expectations for the Naruto and Sasuke versus Jigen fight. Well, let's just say the fight didn't go as well. And by go as well, I mean Naruto and Sasuke got absolutely murdered, and it wasn't even close. If you haven't seen this fight already, go watch it after this video, of course. The absolute best example of power scaling reaching Dragon Ball Z levels is the Susanoo. The Susanoo was pretty much the ultimate defense in Naruto Shippuden, something that had been hyped and built up for hundreds and hundreds of episodes. It's pretty much the single most iconic ability of the Mangekyo Sharingan at this point. Well, watch what happened when Jigen met the Susanoo. He caught it slow before kicking Sasuke through and straight out of it. Yes, I wish I was kidding, but that is actually what happened. One of the most iconic things from the original show got treated like a minor inconvenience. Naruto ended up unlocking a new transformation with the sacrifice of Kurama. They were eventually able to defeat Jigen, or well, Ishiki Otsutsuki, but it came at a cost. Naruto doesn't have Kurama anymore, and Sasuke lost his Rinnegan. I can totally understand how Sasuke could lose his dojutsu, because Momoshiki wanted payback from him stabbing his Rinnegan hand, but killing off another person that Naruto deeply cares about is mind-boggling. Like Kishimoto, Kodachi, mix it up. Let's stop killing off everyone that Naruto loves. And the sad part is that it probably doesn't stop here. Based on the time skip where we see Boruto wearing Sasuke's cape, headband, and wielding his Kusanagi, we can only assume that Sasuke dies in the future. Maybe from the hands of Code. The power scaling isn't stopping. It's just going up, and now the two beloved main characters don't have most of the power we saw them get through hundreds of episodes. But don't worry, we have Boruto and Kawaki to save the day. Confused? Well, basically Boruto and Kawaki both have the Karma Seal that lets them tap into the powers of a full-blooded Otsutsuki, pretty much instantly making them the strongest beings that have ever existed on the planet. So yes, the power scaling is just getting more and more ridiculous, and the only people who can do anything about it are the two new characters. With the recent fight we got between Kawaki, Boruto, and Code, pretty much had Naruto acting with all the usefulness Krillin would have had. Which definitely hurts to say because I'm a huge Naruto fan. In fact, my name is Lord 7 because I was inspired by the GOAT himself. But besides that, if you think about it, Boruto and Kawaki harnessing the powers of the Otsutsuki is pretty much exactly what happened in Dragon Ball Super, with Goku getting Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta's God of Destruction form. It's actually kind of funny just how parallel the two series are, especially right now. So if you've been getting a bad case of deja vu watching Boruto lately, it's probably for a good reason. And it's not like it's going to get any better. We only recently got introduced to the idea of an Otsutsuki god, and I don't even want to imagine just how crazy something like that is going to get. If the series doesn't end with Boruto and Kawaki destroying entire planets with gigantic laser beams, then I'll be genuinely surprised. And that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are the two series as similar as I think they are, or am I missing something? Also, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video so you don't miss out on any future videos. It's your boy Lord 7th, and we're out.